Harry discovered the Room of Requirement in his first year? This is actually one of my very favorite fan theories. And when Harry discovered the Mirror of Erised in that unused classroom on Christmas, he was there because he had been in the restricted section of the library and ran away to get away from Filch. But the question remains, why was the Mirror of Erised just sitting in an open, unused classroom? Dumbledore was obviously preparing it to go into the underground chambers to hide the Philosopher's Stone. But why wasn't he just doing that in the Room of Requirement? Because in case you didn't know, the mirror had in fact already been in the Room of Requirement for a century or so before then. And the Room of Requirement would have been a much better private place for Dumbledore to work on the Mirror of Erised than just some random unused classroom. It's actually possible that he in fact was working on the Mirror of Erised in the Room of Requirement. And if you notice, when Harry first finds that unused classroom with the mirror in it, the door was ajar. So what would have happened is Dumbledore had been working on it that night, left the door open when he left for some reason, or actually, it's pretty possible that he was actually just there the whole time, and when he saw Harry enter the room, he was just like, this is interesting, let me just make myself invisible and watch what happens. And because the door had been left open, the room was still manifesting in the way that Dumbledore had it as he was working on the mirror. Then the next night when he wants to show Ron, they were looking around for like an hour before they found that room again. The door was closed this time, but Harry was specifically looking for the Mirror of Erised, so that could be a way for him to discover that empty classroom again if it was the Room of Requirement. The third night he had a better idea of how to get back there, and he was specifically again searching for the Mirror of Erised. He was really obsessing over it at that point, but then Dumbledore told him to not come looking for the mirror again. So it is possible that at that point he kind of just forgot about that unused classroom and where it was, and didn't even connect 2 and 2 when he rediscovered the Room of Requirement in book 5. The only thing that could potentially discredit this theory is that the chapter implies that he's on the 4th floor and the Room of Requirement's on the 7th floor. But, and I quote, he had been so busy getting away from the library, he hadn't paid attention to where he was going. So it's fairly likely that he even just lost track of what floor he was on.